Ian Duncan, Conservative MEP. We now know Lord Hill's full title in this European Commission. Obviously it has to be approved by the Parliament, but it looks like he's going to get the portfolio for financial stability, financial services and capital markets union. What's your initial reaction?
Good news for Britain, good news for Scotland, good news for Mr Cameron and his strong efforts to make sure that Jonathan Hill got the right portfolio for Britain.
Why is it a good news? What's good about this role? It's a mouthful to say. What does it mean? What could it mean for Britain?
Well, it's worth bearing in mind what happened in the last mandate and how many attempts were made by the Commission in various guises to interfere and influence financial services in the UK. Whether it be transaction taxes or regulations or attempts to indeed even undermine the City of London and the City of Edinburgh. Well, we now have in place, I hope, a commissioner who can deliver because he understands what it means to the financial services industry in the United Kingdom, and that's a huge step forward.
Now I understand you know him personally, you've also met with him very recently. What's he like? What can we expect from him as European Commissioner?
Well, he is a good listener. He is a canny operator. It's worth bearing in mind in his previous incarnation when he worked for John Major, he managed to secure the single biggest return and protection of powers that the UK has ever secured. So he's an operator. That's the first thing. And bearing in mind he's not only a commissioner, but he's also going to be responsible for delivering against Mr Cameron's agenda. As a commissioner, however, I believe he will be able to secure what the UK needs for financial services, and that is important. It's a valuable, vital industry for the United Kingdom.
Are you in no doubt that you do see this then as a win for Britain? It's very remarkable when you look at the diagrams provided by the European Commission that there'll be a top table of vice presidents, there'll be the senior commissioners, Britain not on that. It's a minority role compared to that, minor role.
Well, I think you have to look at some of the portfolios that sit with those commissioners. For example, Mr Oettinger isn't a vice president either. That's the German commissioner. The reality is the heavy lifting is done with the main dossiers. Jonathan Hill will be doing the heavy lifting in financial services. That is a win for Britain.
Is this in effect a European Commissioner for the City of London? Do you think that's going to be his main focus given the size of the financial industry in London compared to other capitals, indeed other cities in Europe?
One thing I would stress very strongly, we often do talk about the City of London as if it dominates all financial services in the United Kingdom. Of course it doesn't. There are other important cities. I'm an MEP for Scotland. I know how important financial services, whether it be insurance, whether indeed it be mortgages, you go across the board, is to Edinburgh and indeed to Glasgow. This is important not just for the City of London, this is important for the UK. And in truth, it's good for the other financial capitals around Europe as well. Someone who understands the importance of the issue because it's of vital importance to their country.
Just to give us a little bit of a sense of the man behind the name then, can you tell us any more about what we might expect from him or the kind of decisions he might take, his own kind of political thought, that kind of thing?
The important thing, the moment his candidacy was announced, he was out in Brussels. And he didn't just sit down with my group, the European Conservative and Reformists, he sat down with every group. And he sat down with an open agenda and he allowed every group to ask questions so they understood that he was there to listen and to hear what was going on. That's the first thing. He is open and he is a listener. The second thing is he understands how to bring people together. I attended a small dinner with him just after his candidacy was announced. Again, not just Conservatives sitting there, Labour Party members, Liberal members as well. He sat in with civil servants. We talked about the key issues. Why? Because he wanted to be able to explain where he stood on issues and how he hoped to develop relationships with everybody across the political spectrum. He is going to deliver not just for the Conservative Party, not just for the United Kingdom. He will deliver for the European Union.
Very briefly, is this going to change Britain's relationship with Europe? It's been on eggshells, especially with David Cameron's very awkward conversations about Juncker over the last few months.
Well, I think it's worthwhile looking back just even to some of the leaks last week about the sort of portfolio that Lord Hill could expect and the reality of what he has been given by Mr Juncker. Mr Juncker is nobody's fool. He has recognised the importance of an important portfolio for Britain and keeping Britain inside the EU. This is the beginning of a journey for the European Union and for the United Kingdom. I believe he will secure significant reform, not least in the area of financial services.